All right, we're going to pick up here with insect life cycles. We're going to start with the simpler of the two processes, which is incomplete metamorphosis. So some insects produce young, so offspring, that look like small versions of the adults. This kind of metamorphosis is known as incomplete metamorphosis. So incomplete metamorphosis is going to have 3 stages, which are shown in this drawing right here. So the 3 stages are egg, nymph, and adult. So egg, early basic development happens here. So it's just going to grow from an egg to a nymph. So it's going to grow basic body structures but still be very small. And then we're going to reach the nymph stage. Now I like to joke that the nymph stage is like the teenager stage for the insect. So the nymph stage is the eating and growing stage. It's where the all the basic body parts are there, but now this insect needs to get a lot bigger. So the nymph stage is the eating and growing stage. And I joke that that's the teenager stage because teenagers eat and grow. So the insects, though, aren't like humans. Humans, our skin grows with us as we grow, but insects have something called an exoskeleton. And the exoskeleton is a hard coating. It's made out of something called chitin. It's why a bug crunches when you step on it. Gross, Mrs. Carvalho. I know. So the exoskeleton is rigid, meaning it can't stretch. So instead of growing with the skin, it has to shed its skin. And you may have seen insects do this before. The most obvious one is to look for a cicada. Cicadas leave behind a gigantic shell when they molt, and it's really easy to see. Sometimes you can see them hanging all over, especially if you're from the south. They hang all over trees and houses and things like that. So this process is called molting. So that's when the nymph sheds its skin as it grows. Normally, insects are going to go through this stage for several weeks, and it depends on the species. Here I'm talking about a grasshopper. So the nymph is going to spend about 4 to 7 weeks in this stage when it's a grasshopper, and it will molt several times during that stage. When it's not molting, it's in a period that we call an instar. So the periods between molts are called instars. When that insect finishes molting and is in its adult size, it'll be at the final stage of the life cycle, and that is the adult. And we know that it's reached the adult stage because adults are always able to reproduce. That's how we define being an adult when we're talking about biology or science. Okay, let's compare this incomplete metamorphosis with just its 3 stages, egg, nymph, adult, to its section with 4 stages, which is complete metamorphosis. So complete metamorphosis is what butterflies do, where we go from egg to larva to pupa to adult. So during complete metamorphosis, the body of an organism completely changes in size and shape at each stage of the life cycle. Complete metamorphosis is made up of 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. So let's go ahead and go through each of those 4 stages. So the egg, only very basic development happens in the egg. We get a pretty undeveloped creature hatching out of the egg called a larva. The larva in this case, is the eating and growing stage. So this is the teenager of the butterfly world. So some insects eat so much during this stage, the eating and growing stage, that they never have to eat again. So their whole life cycle, they won't eat after the larva stage. So they won't eat during the pupa stage, and they won't eat during their adult life at all. That's not the case for all of them. Obviously, butterflies eat, but some insects will not eat. During this stage, the larva must molt several times as it grows. After the larva stage, we're going to get the pupa stage. The larva will enter the pupa stage after it has finished growing. And that's because the pupa is the transformation stage. So you probably know enough about studying butterflies in the past to know that the pupa is going to wait to make a cocoon or a chrysalis, depending on what kind of species it is. And so during this phase, it does not really appear to be doing much, but it's growing completely new organs and other body parts, like wings. And so inside of, the reason it has to finish growing is because inside the chrysalis, there's only a set amount of room. And then the body does this really cool thing where it basically deconstructs itself and then completely regrows inside of that structure. And so while we can't see much going on inside of there, we do know that there's a complete reorganization taking place. Now, once the pupa emerges from the chrysalis or the cocoon, it will be an adult. The adult is the final stage for the insect. And during this stage, same thing, we know it's an adult because it's able to reproduce. And that covers insects.